tiger on the prowl. I'ma make it go wild. I'm original, and I told you so. I'm a kid in the candy store, with the leather on the denim. I ain't the cure, I'm the venom. If you wanna find me, find the taillight. Something's coming in, you're gonna wanna take a red eye. It's time to go. It's time to go. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. I don't wait for nobody. I'm a summer name on the dotty. City lights call my name, drawn to the flame, and I'm feeling kinda naughty. I hit the ground running, step out the door and I'm stunning. Better hold tight cause you know what's going down. I'm setting the pace cause this is my town. So get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome to What Up Wednesday. Keely Dunn, FHumpires. It's good to see you. I am having some weird audio things going on because clearly I have an instance of my YouTube going at the same time and I don't know where it is. So talk amongst yourselves. I have no idea where it is. It makes no sense. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. I'm going to just kill Safari. Oh, phew, that did it. Wow. I was soldiering bravely on and thinking it was going to be a nightmare. Okay. Hi. Just did a watch party for the Yellow Gang over in the Discord server. And despite the fact that match took a little while to get on watch.hockey, we were able to join it in and have a little chat over things that were going on. So for those of you who are there, thanks for joining in. For those of you who are wondering, what's a watch party? Well, let me tell you about it. If you join FHU 3T Yellow, here, let me play you a graphic that shows you. You can support for green, and I really appreciate the coffee every month. But if you join yellow, you get access to a whole bunch of cool mentoring things that we do, including the huddles, the watch parties, and the blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about. Huddles, watch parties, clip library. That's what I mean. Discounts, all kinds of stuff. So we are back to the watch parties because why shouldn't we be? It's a good time. I think we needed to take a little break. Okay, I needed to take a little break because it was a lot of hockey for a long time, but I'm really glad that we're back. And it's not that I want to always do pro league matches. It's just that it's easier to talk about matches where you have good resolution, good camera angles, and good umpires who I can show you are practicing some good things and occasionally picking apart a few things about their performances as generously and subtly as I can. So let's see. What are we doing today? Okay. Today I had to restart Safari to kill off that instance of YouTube, and I know why it was going now. So don't worry. Figured out. Good job, brain. Just way too late. What we're doing today, we are going to talk about a danger shot clip that was sent upon me. We are going to look at a yellow card slide tackle occurring in the circle that was presented in our Discord server. Got a question from Simon Webb. We're doing an audible. He was interested in talking about pre-match chats. What do you do about them? And what do you do when things don't seem to evolve like the pre-match chat was agreed upon during the game? And I've got my hands on the new FIH indoor briefing. So hopefully we'll get to that. And if I have so much time left in the Keeley hour, we will talk a little bit about the FIH panels, because it's not that they've really changed. It's just that the FIH has changed how they're presenting that information. And I wanted to do sort of a recap of where people are, where people are after this last 18 months of COVID. Because things be tough out there in those streets. So those are things we're going to talk about. Let me say hi to everybody because it's my favorite thing. Rachel is here. You're starting off with something red, a Merlot, because you have an ache in your eye. Sounds like a migraine. I'm not going to give you advice. Not going to give you advice because I'm sure you know how to handle yourself. I just know what that feeling is. And I know that I have to get my arthritis meds. It's so weird, but they actually really work for migraines. If I pop a couple of those, I can nip that migraine in the bud. And then I have a migraine hangover, but still, it's way better than living through a migraine in the fetal position. So anyway, sympathies. Squirrel. Lucio's here as always. And Niels. Hi, Roger. Good to have you. And Matthew, you're careful. You might make a habit of this. That's 2 weeks in a row. Stefan's here. Dogs are fed, breakfast ready, and first coffee because Stefan is in New Zealand. If the weather were nice, it'd be a great to start to the day. You, sir, are just asking for too much. There you are. There you go. Kids to bed for Marvo there. Why I call him Matthew Causey when I know his name is Marvo? Long story. Luke's here. Hi. Lou Raider. Scott Riley. Shane Mackney. God, it's so good to see you guys. Paul's here. Hi. Mike Vince. Mike was in the watch party, so he's back for more. You crazy, crazy human. Adam Swan's here. Hi. And Wellington. Yes. I wonder if that's where my friend Tracy is. I don't think she's in Wellington anymore. I think she's in the countryside. But Hartmut, hello, friend. Paul is here. You can't talk with your mouth full. That's fair. Godders, hi. It's not that it's that cold. It actually is a little cold out there. We're now getting into frost. It's like -1, -2 at night. It's more that I haven't been feeling well in the last 4 days now. And I went for my test on Tuesday morning. And I got my test result last night and I'm fine. But I don't know. Colds are like such a stressful thing now because especially if you're like me and I'm working with a group of athletes now, coaching the dynos that I have to be very careful with. And our protocol is if you have any symptoms, you stay home. And even if you get your negative test result back, if you're still symptomatic, it means you have a cold. Please don't come to training and spread it to everybody. So I missed training last night. I'm going to miss training tonight and rest up, which is fine because I was doing an FIH Academy workshop today with my friend Andrew Wilson, hey boss, on game analysis. So it was really interesting because I could sort of frame the discussions and everything that I was learning around what I do for video analysis for umpires, including clip library and coachings and things like that, and what I'm doing for the dynos. So it was absolutely fascinating and really well worth being up at. So I stayed up. It started at 1 a.m. my time and ended at 4 a.m. So it's like I'm back in the Olympics again, but just one day. It's fine. Wow, did I ever go off on a rant there? Corey's here. Hey, friend. Aline. Hey, girl. Hey. You're multitasking tonight, work and play. Bonus points for joining live from a train zipping through the English countryside. Oh, yes, Michael McCartney. Here. You take that, DJ air horn. And take it again. That's awesome. I miss the trains in England so much. Every time I think of them, I get nostalgic. I know you guys think that they're terrible and why would anybody want to travel with unwashed masses? I loved it. I loved just the feeling of, it's ironic or paradoxical that trains would make me feel free, but they do. They did make me feel free because I could just go everywhere in the UK on a train. I didn't need to have a car. I didn't need to fuel up on gas. And then occasionally went the wrong way. Kat, hi. The fun has arrived. Girls in the house. Yeah. Totally fair. It was a very early game. And I think originally the game time may have been an hour later, but they wanted to do a presentation for the Dutch women's team celebrating their gold medal win. So there were tons of kids in the stands and tons of people in the stands. I guess it's cool. They're doing their passport system more than likely. I haven't heard any details, but I assume that they're doing that kind of thing. And so I think they pushed the game an hour earlier so they could do the ceremony and have the kids involved. And that's the kind of thing people, and I know it seems crazy that they'd push a televised broadcast game back or they'd pull it up an hour earlier in order to make that happen. But that is what the Dutch do so well in order to foster their community, to market their players, to market their programs, to keep the kids involved and excited and let them know who the players are and get them close to the players. I bet there's a big autograph session going on and all kinds of stuff. And that is the difference. That's how great programs get greater. So congratulations. Not only on the gold medal, but also doing good stuff with your community. Hi, Liz. Liz was also there for the watch party. Very interesting. Oh, yeah. You couldn't figure out how to. Well, Liz, let's talk about this. Next time, pop into Discord and we'll show you how. Because it's, once you know, you'll be like, so easy. What? And we can help you with that. And there's, Elle's often there and Niels is there and there's lots of people who know lots of stuff about Discord. So there you go. Oh, I think I was happier thinking it was a migraine. Intravitreal. Yes. No worries, Daniel Marsh. You're fashionably late, but you're right on time, sir. Rupert, hi. You're moving to the US. Tell us more. Tell us, where are you going and why? And do you need any friends? Because Lou's here. Say hi to Lou Raider and maybe we can start, getting you friends who can help you and make you feel welcome. Hi, Sam. It's a secret plug on the new merch. Yeah, the hoodie. No, it's not. It's just, this is my favorite hoodie. It's so cozy. So yes, we are going to be selling this because now I'm convinced I really like it. Long story, but there you go. Okay, so let's, before we get into the topics, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. I want to say thank yous because I really appreciate people. So we have a new FHU 3T, that you can barely see that against the red painting. That was smart. But I want a big welcome to Graham Paring, first of all, and welcome Daniel Marsh. Thank you for signing up and contributing. Daniel has been in the Discords like a fiend, getting every question answered. This could be you too. And no, I mean, you don't have to be a green member in order to get lots of questions answered, but you get very, very prompt replies from me, especially if you are a contributor. Just saying. And then in FHU 3T yellow, Stefan. So I am so happy to have you all, and thank you for signing up. Wait. Air horn. Okay. And then it was Thanksgiving on Monday, and I was sick, and I didn't want to talk about it. So I wasn't like, I don't want to do a huddle because A, it's a holiday, and I'm sick because I didn't know if I had COVID, blah, blah, blah. We've been here. We have covered this subject matter. But I just want to say some thanks, some Canadian thanks to those of you who sent me some little thank yous. So Luke, thank you so much for that. Your support, you guys, I don't think you understand. It's just such a, like, it really does make me feel so happy. Not because it's rosés. I mean, rosés aren't bad. But it's that communication and that feedback. I also like hearing if I haven't done things very well either. So don't be shy about that. Just do it privately. Kidding. And Berent, thank you very much for the rosés. When I'm feeling better, I will absolutely get back to my rosé drinking schedule. I had some delivered yesterday, so my favorite place in Calgary had a sale, so I stocked up. There you go. Yes, Kat can help too. There you go. Yeah, Rupert, so you're trying to work how to get involved over there. You're going to Pittsburgh. Your girlfriend is there. Nice. And you're going Monday. Woo! Wow. Okay, so there you go. And Kat is there until January. Okay, let's talk about our topics. Topics. What are we talking about? Okay. First of all, this was this was sent to me. This is my favorite thing. This is the kind of question that I get. This thing up here, where people just tag me randomly on the Instagrams and just question mark. So Riley Keough was like, question mark, what do you think of this goal? So I don't have any sound with it because you don't need it. And there was quite a bit of discussion in some places on social media. And I'd like to hear your thoughts first before I start getting into my jams. And it's not that it's a quiz. It's that I understand that asking open-ended questions is important so that I don't unduly turn off your own thinking. I want you to go through your own processes. What are you looking for to determine whether a shot on goal is dangerous? And go, oh my God, if we have to do any more shots that are dangerous. It's a big decision, right? And that's why it comes up a lot. But we need to be better as a community at applying the principles that we know. So tell me what you think. And I'd like to know what it is about this scenario. What are you looking for that informs your decision? So for Godders, he's saying danger, high flying Kiwi. Good to see you. Waiting for the rest. Don't worry, I'll just hang out. Maybe I'll play some music or something while I'm waiting. Or I'll look at the briefing. Study up a little more. I'm just kidding. So when you're watching this, I would pay particular attention to, of course, first of all, whether the shot on goal, whether the shot is going on goal. Okay. And then look at the proximity of the defenders and how they got there. And it's not that we're saying that a shot on goal, it's not that you have to be marking, you have to be closing in order to be a legitimate player as a defender, but there's a difference between players who are protecting the goal and players who are defending. So let's see. Where are we at? Paul. Mr. Harriman, danger for you. Both defenders are in the line of shot and both legitimate evasive action. It's danger for Niels. Danger for you, Rachel. On the first few, the defenders were already set when the shot came as well, says Roger. You asked about this quite a while ago, but didn't have a video to display what you meant, and now you do. Yep. This is why we do video. So, yeah, just side story. I really, really don't like trying to talk about anything that I can't see. If there's any amount of subjectivity involved, you have to see it, because even your descriptions will paint different pictures in the minds of your audience. So there you go. Second defender is unsighted, has to duck. For Liz, they ran into the line of the shot. Which defender ran into the line of the shot? Is it both of them or one of them, or what is the case? Defenders taking evasive action within 5 meters, danger. And Mike, legitimate evasive action, ball very close to defender, so danger. Yep. When you're not on the field, it's a difficult decision. Kat, you're absolutely right. It does look dangerous now because of the evasive action. Well, okay, Michael, hang on. Umpires making mistakes isn't about undermining the rule book. It's about umpires making mistakes. So I just want to get you to take a knee on this one and slowly roll, because this kind of conversation or this tenor of conversation where we say we see something blown incorrectly, therefore it's, the rule isn't written properly, or this needs to be changed or that needs to be changed, or the whole game is falling apart. It's like, hey, umpires make mistakes. That's it. So again, we're going to turn back to the principles in order to figure this out. And a lot of you are really touching on a few of the main points. You're looking at the proximity of the player, and you're looking at legitimate evasive action, what the reactions of the players are. Scott, you think it's dangerous, but you don't just look for evasive action or proximity, because it's about who causes the danger. Yeah, who have put themselves on the line and that sort of thing. So that's good, Scott. Thanks for pointing that out. First instinct, it's too low to be dangerous to the closest defender and too far away, just chosen position on the second. Stefan, yeah, this old trope, and we need to be. I mean, I don't even pretend that this is an urban myth anymore. I don't acknowledge it, because it's just not legitimate. It's not. It's just absolutely not the case. And I will look extremely askance at anybody who actually brings this to me in real life, because it's, what are you, insane? Do you actually... Anyway. Maybe I'm just naive. For both of them, Liz, you thought they both ran in. Okay. The second defender was aware of the player to her right when the ball shifted to the backhand. Does defender jumping always mean evasive action? I jump out of the way when a defender smashes the ball from 2 meters away, even when it goes along the ground. Yeah, and there's, it's an interesting conundrum about how balls on the ground are considered to never be dangerous. And is that accurate? Is that actually true? Can a ball on the ground actually be dangerous? I've called them occasionally, rarely, but occasionally. The first defender ran into the shot. Deeper defender not marking and just blocking the goal. No danger. The goal is good. Michael, you can only really sell it if the player is actually hit by the ball. What? I mean, I can sell a lot of things, and don't you be putting baby in a corner, because I could sell this danger decision. Not the jumping defender, the other two who moved away kind of thing, but it depends on so many things. Most of the time it's hard to make the decision when you're not on the field. Yeah. So for me, I believe that this is a dangerous shot. And when I look, let's see if I can pin this down a little bit. For me, this defender, the first defender, okay, is actually the one So y'all keep talking about the second defender, who I think, again, is a bit of a space marker and a bit defending the goal, but she was marking. Okay, there's the second defender just over to the left, right in front of the goalkeeper. She is marking somebody and then loses her. And she kind of freezes behind. So probably not as much. The player in the headband jumps. Okay, so if I were a coach, I'd be pretty like, what? I'm just kidding. Maybe I wouldn't be mad. But as her teammate gets beat on the initial drag to the left, she jumps and she attempts to close. That ball goes, goes past her thigh. That is she is legitimately taking evasive action. She's within 5 meters. She was trying to close in order to defend the play. So I would trend to this being danger. That's my feeling on that. Let me keep it rolling a little bit. And it's a fine line between, we don't want to penalize players doubly because defenders who fail in their marking responsibilities. I don't believe she was trying to defend the goal. I think she was marking, kind of lost her player, and then she was unsighted and didn't know where the ball was going to be coming from. So we don't want to get too cute about who we start assigning the causation of danger to. There's a difference between a player who says, I'm going to stop this ball from going in on goal by being here. I'm going to take up this position for that intention. There's another player who's like, oh crap, I lost my man and now I can't see. See the difference? Let's see where we're at. It is fast in real time. Danger is fast. It's more the second defender for Roger. She's already positioned and had to duck to avoid being hit. And it's not necessarily about taking a position, right? Because if she's taking up that position because she's like, I'm going to block the goal, you don't get my sympathy. But if you're in that position for another reason, then it's a different issue. Question from Michael McCartney. Given where the engaged umpire would optimally be stood and where the disengaged umpire would be stood, do they have the angle to make the decision? Yeah, I think so. I don't see any problem with this. I would like to see the supporting umpire in this case fairly central in the pitch. And depending on what the buildup of this play is, maybe they're just inside the center line, maybe they're several meters, maybe they're closer to the 23, who knows, second, 3 down. No. So maybe they're halfway, but they're fairly central. Maybe 5 meters off the left post-ish. Okay. And again, it's hard to know because I don't know where the balls come from. But I think from there, you have enough of an angle to see how far it is away, but you also are close enough to see the direction of the shot. Controlling umpire, same thing. Stefan, it's so fast in real time and angle with the umpires, it could be missed. Yeah. And it would be hard as a controlling umpire or a supporting umpire to get in there and say, hey, dude, danger, after the instinctive, very quick goal is signaled. Because it's a gorgeous shot. It's, you want those goals to be scored, but we still can't step that far across the line to be saying, yeah. Everybody wants it to be goal. Yes, exactly. And nobody will complain if it's given as a goal. So goal. Yeah. We still have lines that we've got to draw. I can understand why it was called. I can. For me, the first defender, not the second. The ump's angle would make it harder to judge exactly how close would be good to get the other ump to check. Yeah. You don't think she was marking She lost the ball and then started ball watching. She didn't once look for the player. She ball watched the whole way. It's very fast, Daniel. Like that moves fast. And if you're talking about the second defender, I think she just gets lost. And when you watch it in real time, she's there, she starts shuffling, and she just gets lost. So I play the game too. And that's my position right there. Does the angle of the camera make it look worse than it was at ump level and angle though? Maybe. Angles change everything. Hi, Mark. I'm just happy you're here. If you want to get an appointment next week, then goal. Well, no. I mean, maybe at your level, you've got some capricious UMs. But I remember I have reviewed a few dangerous shots on goal that happened at international level, and the feedback to the umpires who allowed goals in those situations after the game was, that's dangerous. You still need to call that. There was one, I can't remember who the shot, I think it was Spain versus England or GB, and I don't know if it was it wouldn't have been Pro League, it would have been maybe a European or something like that, because it was Kate Richardson-Walsh who had to duck as the ball flew by her head as she was marking a player off the post. And the feedback to the umpires was, sure, it was a great goal, but it was dangerous, and we have to call those. So I think we're making mistakes too frequently, pushing things to the danger realm. Scott, you think the second defender ended up choosing to be a barrier? Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not basing it on her anyway. So that's whether she chose to be a barrier, she accidentally was. For me, it doesn't make a difference because I'm talking about the first defender. The first defender is ready to tackle, so needs to be approached safely, meaning it still can't. Yeah, okay. So Scott's agreeing with me. Thanks, Scott. You're always there to back me up. If the second defender was hit, would it be a PC just to run in some salt? Yeah, obviously. I think so. I think that the goalkeeper has enough of a chance to get there. And what's interesting is the goalkeeper actually just, I don't know if you saw her when you see in real time, she kind of spins away like she thinks it's not, like she gets totally fooled as to where she is and where that ball is going to go. It's almost like she moves out of the way of it. See that? She's not even trying to make the save. So there's a lot of disorientation there and a lot of unsighting. And that, again, is what I want you to think about, is that second defender is unsighted. And unsighted is an element to danger. It's about the spacing of the players. It's about what they can see. It's about how much room there is. It's how far away they are, how fast the ball's going. There's all these equations. So don't discount that she gets unsighted. And if you want to blame her because she's bad at marking and you think she deliberately let her mark go, I don't think she did, because that player is in some dope position there. They remind you of Sam Ward injuries. Not for me, because Sam Ward's injury was a mishit forehand hit. And it was this ball is absolutely caught perfectly. When Sam got hit, that forehand it didn't connect properly. And that's why everything happened. It was just pure accident. How pissed would I be if that goal was allowed, given how gorgeous it was? Well, I don't know, Michael, because I spend a lot of time studying the rules and studying how the game should be. And if that was me and that's my team out there and that's their one goal they could score all season, would I be disappointed? Yes. Would I be mad? No, I wouldn't. And I am working so hard to teach by example, leading my team to understand that they've got some pretty damn good umpires, all of whom know the game better than they do, who have tons more experience than they do, and they are in good hands. And their job is to completely ignore all that stuff going on. That means my job is to completely ignore that stuff going on. I'm there teaching them how to play and how to be humans. I'm not there to get a W. Sorry. Did I rant? I feel really strongly about this, by the way. Keeper was in a bad stance. You thought it would be a miss. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how goalkeeping goes. There you go. And danger's danger. Exactly. Okay. So that's it. It's interesting. I mean, lots of people with danger, lots of people without. I hope we went over the principles. We need to keep working at this because we need to understand better how we're going to call this. Okay. And the principle is that the guiding principle is not, is it gorgeous? The guiding principle is, are the players safe? That's the first thing. Our first mandate is to protect the safety of the players and ensure a fair contest. And then we let it be beautiful. That's afterwards. So Daniel just focused on the watching the first defender. That ball's knee height by the time it goes past her. Would have caught her knee square on without moving her leg. Yeah, it's if it had been this much closer, it would have hit her on the knee, and that would have been called dangerous because she's within 5 and it's above the knee, above including being on the knee. It's not on the shin guard, it's above the knee. So again, the comment that Michael made about the coach saying you only get the call if you get hit, the no blood, no foul rule. Yeah. A great goal is not that gorgeous if there's blood everywhere. Going reverse into the middle of the top circle. Yeah, exactly. It is great skill, but she doesn't have the room to do it. So good. Thanks, everybody. Okay, let's move on to topic number 2. Yes. So this one came into the Discords, and the information is that it was a 10-minute yellow and a penalty corner, not a penalty stroke, and the attacking team was looking for the penalty stroke. So this is the video. It's a little herky-jerky. So what you are seeing is a sliding tackle. Okay, so the attack is going to retrieve the ball off close to the end line, and the defender doesn't do a classic slide tackle by going in feet first, but definitely dives at the ball and takes down the player in possession. So yes, this caused quite the discussion. Maybe somewhere else. For me, it's pretty easy, but you tell me. So the award here, you can see that the umpire is going into his pocket first. Let's see if we can see what he does. He's off screen at this moment. Now, I'm going to assume, it's hard to tell. I don't know if the umpire is making a team award decision first. So that's the first thing that I want to encourage you all to consider in these situations. You are absolutely going to be justified in giving that 10-minute yellow for this slide tackle. Okay? But the first thing you want to do is settle for the players what the team award is going to be. because after you can change after the fact, but you don't know what you might be changing to until you've got your initial decision, and your colleague needs to see it. They need to understand, wait a minute, I saw something totally differently, or, ooh, I don't have anything to help them with that. So if they come ask me, I'm going to tell them, stay with your original decision because I don't have any different information for you. I didn't see it. I don't understand, whatever the case might be, right? So make your team decision first. We could make the assumption that in order to, because he does make a stop time motion by the time we get him back on camera in order to give the card. Now, if you've awarded a penalty stroke, you don't have to stop time. Some umpires don't realize that either. They'll give a stroke and then they'll stop time and then they'll give a card. And you're like, penalty stroke signal always stops time anyway, so you don't need to. And that's another reason why you would give your team award first, because it does some of the work for you. So the next point we want to consider is whether this slide tackle happens inside or outside the circle. Now, the footage isn't awesome, but how about, for now, we go with the assumption that this happens inside the circle, because I believe it does. I believe the contact is inside the circle. It's a little bit, but let's not get distracted on that. Okay, so we're judging that part. Okay, let's see. Mark, yellow penalty stroke. He's getting in there. Wait, do I have? No, that's not a good. That's not a good one. Rupert, that's a badly broken ankle on another day. 10 minutes. Yes, Mark, absolutely 10 minutes. So there is no dispute there. We are giving a 10-minute yellow because this is a sliding tackle for which the briefings, everybody's briefing should be in line with this. Okay, and I can show you the... Oops, that's not going to show you the right one, but we'll just go back to that. It's absolutely crystal clear that a sliding tackle in which the tackler makes contact with the ball carrier and takes them down is a 10-minute yellow. All those things have to be present, but then they are. Luke, it doesn't change the penalty stroke for you, but the player's stick or body contacting the player. Luke, I believe it's the body. Yeah. I mean, good to think about, but it's the body. His body lands on his feet and on the ball carrier's feet. And that's what absolutely takes him down. Godders, yellow and a penalty stroke, attacker denied possession. Yeah, it was an intentional foul against an attacker who had possession or about to gain possession of the ball. Going to ground and making contact, body contact, 10 yellow. Links back to the discussion last week, upgraded personal penalty. So penalty stroke would be justifiable as it's intentional because, I'll continue with yours, Daniel, he's intending to go to the ground. So it meets the intentional foul reason for a penalty stroke. Yes. Paul, 10-minute yellow plus it's a penalty stroke for the foul on the player is the potential to play the ball. Yeah. Exactly. So this is the point that I wanted to make sure to cover, because even though the FIH briefing doesn't specifically address the upgrade penalty inside the circle, they are being very, very, very clear that if you are giving a personal penalty for an intentional foul inside the 23, it must be met with the corresponding team penalty upgrade. So that means for the inside the 23 penalty corner, inside the circle has to be a penalty stroke. Now, in the past, we've talked about, well, the player's going away from the goal and It's not a great scoring opportunity and all that kind of stuff. That to me is the space in which, if it hadn't have been a slide tackle, if it had just been a breakdown tackle, maybe you take the view that's not really so much breaking down because it isn't, it's reckless as to stopping something that isn't very big. Okay. So it would be neither. It would be neither a card or an upgrade. But in this case, this absolutely has to be a penalty stroke, I believe. Let's see. Rupert, penalty stroke and a yellow, 10-minute yellow. No, it's gotta be a penalty stroke. Is it close to a red? No, it's not. So I find that this is a very, I see this in sporting cultures that have a lot of contact with football, soccer, where bad fouls can be red cards. Not in our sport. It's not, because we have intermediate steps. We have other management tools in our pockets. And as long as they're playing hockey and they're doing hockey things, we can use a yellow card for that. We save the red cards for non-hockey things. If he did that and the ball's nowhere near, and he just goes and dives at somebody and tackles them to the ground, that's a red card. Or various other forms of misconduct that we've talked about. Okay, but there's a difference between dangerous play and violence. And we save that for violence. Now, I'm not saying there's not problems with, gray lines and all that kind of thing. Gray areas, gray lines. Me smart. But for me, absolutely not. Absolutely not a red card. If he'd done that before, if he had taken a yellow card before in the game and he does that, sure, red card, because now you're just not even trying to play the game as we've described it. Marvo, 10-minute yellow, no option but to get the penalty stroke. Shane, I hope you typed this and entered it before I gave my diatribe. Yeah, see, now you're starting to, shave. Oh, well, did he actually have possession or about to gain possession of the ball? Okay, it's difficult to see exactly, but I don't think the ball has gone out. I think this happens within the circle. Unfortunately, the controlling umpire seems to be, very much out of position, isn't moving towards what is likely going to be a high point of contact along his end line. No, it's inside. Yeah, unless it's already happened, says Scott. Not for him. For you, it didn't appear to be malicious. Appeared to want to play. He was just reckless about it. Yeah. If it's out of play, Luke, then there's no decision. It's a 50-meter free hit, or it's a 50-meter hit, or a 23-meter restart. Absolutely. There. Sorry, had to turn on some focus things because suddenly I'm getting lots of messages. So if it were out of play, there's no corner, there's no stroke. There's just that. And there's a 10-minute yellow card. Okay. Because it's separate. It's the opposition wasn't disadvantaged. I agree. Paul Reeves, James was going to say it comes down to what players expect again, or it goes to black and white route. Some players are going to shock. And look, James, like you're pulling a few different issues into this at once, which is totally fine. But when it comes to like, this should no longer be a surprise to any player that a 10-minute yellow, or that a slide tackle is a 10-minute yellow and is going to be an upgrade. Like it absolutely should not be a surprise. And if it is a surprise, then you've got some big work to do in your area to make sure everybody understands. Okay. Okay. It can be close to red. I don't care about kind of pregnant. Okay. I care about what decision is given. So you're not giving an orange. You're giving a 10-minute yellow card. And you can really dislike it, but it's a 10-minute yellow card. And that's enough. Yeah. Hi, Ian. You just arrived after umpiring a couple uni matches. Feet up, beer in hand. I'm glad your beer is heading towards your mouth, because if it were going anywhere else, that would be a disappointing result for your beer. Yeah, I don't know where I came up with that, but if it's not hockey, you don't get to play anymore, because hockey happens here. And if you're not hockey, then you don't get to play. It just feels very right to me, because we have a go sit down for a while. I mean, if you come from a culture like I do of ice hockey, where there's lots and lots of graduated penalties and all these different steps, there's 2-minute minors and 5-minute majors and 10-minute misconducts and game misconducts. You've got all these steps in place. You've got warnings. You've got this. You've got that. So you've got all these ways in which you can accommodate the full multitude of possible player behaviors and take into account all the grayness. We can do that. Football sucks because it can't do that, because it's got a binary intervention system. And they've got all this gray, just like we do. That's why we're better. Sport ball. But I do love Ted Lasso as a show. I think it's amazing. Yeah. Yep. Good. It's all about the learning. That's right, Shane. And I hope you take all my comments in that spirit. Okay. And I've sat here in this chair and been out here in these internet streets and said stuff that's wrong. It doesn't happen that often, but it's happened. I make mistakes. So I have really gotten over myself about whether I should be precious about making mistakes in public. I'm all over it now. Barend, hi. I said thanks to you earlier in the broadcast. You're going to have to watch the replay to see your name on the screen. Isn't a stroke too much in compensation for what's been taken away from the attacker? Yeah, but we don't get that. We don't have that latitude anymore. Okay. So you've probably heard me talk, because you've been around for a long time, Barend. You know that I like to talk about scales of justice and how it's understanding that. And for me, like I said before, Bryn, you missed this part where I said, had this not been a slide tackle, but it just been a breakdown tackle, this is one of those situations where you'd look at it and go, I'm going to deem this not a breakdown tackle, because it actually didn't break anything. It didn't break down anything that positive. So I'm just going to go with a penalty corner and no card. Had it not been for the slide tackle. But the rules committee is absolutely adamant on this point. They believe that this is the kind of consistency that coaches and players and spectators want from the game. Do I think they're right? No. I think this is going to backfire, but I have to accept the messages that are coming from right from the top that have been pointed directly at me in some cases, and make sure you all understand. Because the most important thing that we can do is be on the same page. The second most important thing we can do is to be right. I love being right, but that's not always my job. My job is to make you better, and better includes being consistent with the community. What if the defender goes down because he trips over and makes contact with the attacker? No, it wouldn't be. That would be an unintentional foul. And that's absolutely one that you would sell differently. We have to, and that's where we can make mistakes as to whether that is a slide tackle or oh crap, I stubbed my toe and I tripped over. Okay. Which is different from, say, oh crap, I'm running behind the line of the ball carrier and I clip their heels and I trip them up. Okay, that's a risky maneuver that you're likely going to cause body contact that takes them to the ground. It's not a slide though, but it's risky and dangerous and it attracts a high penalty on that end. But you see the difference? If somebody is just running, properly with rigor and diligence, trying to get to the ball and they trip and they fall, that's just a penalty corner. Bye, Shane. I hope you have a great day down there, out in your streets. You think Luke meant outside the D, not off the back line. Yeah, well, Ian, before you got here, I already covered the fact that I believed it was inside. It was inside the circle, inside the pitch, not off the back line. Anyway. You feel that many players are surprised today when they attempt to make a tackle but bring down the player and we give the foul and they say, but I got the ball. Yeah, well. All we can do is to be steadfast in our consistency. Don't let up on this. And when we explain things to players and coaches like, this is mysterious, so let me really explain this very complicated obstruction thing to you. Or fan, when we describe things as like, yeah, this is just the way it is. The message is, oh, I should know this. This is just the way it is. This isn't a matter of dispute. This isn't, you almost give more life to these urban myths by having to prepare this ample defense against it. It's like, no, obviously, it's just not. Culture is absorbed and knowledge is absorbed in many ways. Bye, Mark. Outside the D and off the back line. Okay. Well, I mean, my comment still stands. I think, as I've said, inside the circle, inside the pitch, inside the circle, all those things. We use all the tools we have. We don't have to skip to the worst. Exactly. Unless it's non-hockey. Good. So what did they actually give here? I don't know. I don't know. That's not what clips are about. Clips are us about applying the principles to what we see. And what would we do in that situation? What this dude did, doesn't matter. Unless he calls me and he says, hey, this is what I did. That's when it matters. Yes, exactly. Pappy! Hey, keep it simple. The intentional foul on the player with the ball. Yeah. And that's what they're looking for, is the simplicity. I don't always like to keep it simple. I like to keep it amazing and excellent and most reflective of the spirit of the game, and which I believe is the most fair thing you can do. But okay. I mean, hey, maybe I've always been wrong about this thing that I was talking about. So the stroke determination case is more based on the FH briefing rather than the rules proper. No, it's based on the rules. It's absolutely based on the rules. It's a reminder to literally interpret the rules. It's an intentional foul inside the circle against a player who has possession of the ball. Absolutely. Just, that's very clear. We have at times and in certain eras in the game applied more, more of a, we've colored the example with our feeling of, well, did it really take away a stroke scoring, that level of opportunity? Okay. And I love that. I do love that. But that's not what we're being asked to do. And let's face it, if you believe in science like I do, go science, you got to gather the data and you got to find out, is this the better approach? Is this going to provide what we want for the game? Or is it going to be an F-up? And the only way you can gather the data is to actually run the experiments. And you can only run experiments in real life with real players and real competitions where there's real stuff on the line. And after 5 to 10 years of this, I think we'll be going back the other way. And that's part of, it's insane sometimes about our game, how we go through these cycles where we go this way and then we swing back to this way on the interpretation and we swing back. And it's like, where are we? We are changing, moving, adapting, learning, and just doing the best we can all the time. Yep. But so many people have, I would like to see those alternate copies of the rules. Bring them. They don't exist. Exactly, right? And Godders, this is why we are all doing what we're doing so much. So I don't do these live streams because I want to talk to you. I want you to take all of this and go talk to all of the people that you all work with. This is how you multiply your impact. And this is why we're doing it like this. We're just spread it up. Let it grow. Okay. You stop trying to explain. And yeah, just keeping it simple. Shots need to be safe too. Yeah, there you go. Yep, keeping that. Like, this is very obvious, friends. Yes. Keep it simple. Keep it amazing. You got the good phrases, Pop and Pappy. I like it. Okay. Love you, Lou. You like how the subjectivity of that's not enough of a foul to be a penalty stroke has been removed in the latest briefing. Yeah, I don't. You'd like to see some of the kit bags of the players. Yep. Nils is like an advertising machine for me. I love it. Okay. We have, holy smokes, spent an hour and 5 minutes and on those two topics. So we are not going to get to the briefing today, I don't think. That's okay. Indoor's not a big rush. We will save the brand new indoor FAH briefing till next week. But let's turn our attention to Simon Webb's question, which I thought was really excellent. Whereupon he asks or states, don't know if you're set for Wednesday. I would like to talk about the pre-match chat and as a follow-up, how to handle it when everything you discussed and agreed goes out the window immediately after the first whistle. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing, if you haven't gone and watched this YouTube short, don't do it right now because you got to stay. Because if you go away from this live stream, all of a sudden my analytics will drop, like they'll go, and then they'll come back after a minute after you watch this. So don't go to this now. Go look at this later. But I did do a 59-second thing on your pre-match chat. And basically, some of the stuff that I talk about involves looking at the pre-match chat as triage. Now, I'm interested, how many of you feel like you have enough time before the games that you're umpiring to do a pre-match chat of which you're proud? Like, do you feel good? Do you like, yeah, we had a good talk. Yeah, good. Like, comfortable, locked in. You've had lots of eye contact with your colleague. You've done your secret handshake. You're like, we're ready for this. How many of you feel that way? As opposed to how many of you go, what is a pre-match chat? Or, I'd love to do one someday. I just never have time. So I'd like to know. Niels recommends that that you watch my short. Yeah, go watch my short. Oh, wait. I wish there wasn't a delay in the comments because this is such a nice wrap up of this one. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to edit the video and it's going to go like this. Stefan, so to take away the team award first before the individual, before the personal, keep it simple, take the breath, give appropriate decisions, use the umpire if you need to. Yep. All good stuff. Okay. And now we're back. We're back talking about the pre-match. Oops. Okay. So you've seen the short. And if you go to the FH website, or my website, FHumpires.com, or you can just go to FHumpires.com/pre-match. That'll take you to the download page for your very own pre-match card. And it looks like this. So you can, did I post both versions? Because I made a version for radios and no radios. Somebody go download it and let me know. I swear, I can't keep a track of my own face sometimes. So you can use this on your phone. You can print this out, fold it in half, laminate it, and put it in your kit bag if you like. If you're that kind of person, I'm obviously a digital minimalist, so I would never do such a thing. I'd have this on my iPad, and I'd use that pitch diagram to sketch things out. Again, visuals are really, really important. So just being able to flash that out, and even just pointing, but if you can draw on it with a erasable marker or something like that, very, very helpful. Let's see what you all are saying about your pre-match chat experiences here. And Niels knows you can download this. There you go. The short was really helpful. Oh, thank you very much. Good. This is Simon. This is your question. Uni, yes. All else, no. Sometimes one of us is starting the game alone while the other one changes into umpiring gear. It just depends. So it's quite variable. Everyone makes the time for pointed games because you meet early. Yes. For other games, club umpires aren't always there. And what I mean is getting changed. Yeah. So this is the thing. We often are umpiring at levels where umpires are appointed from the pitch, which is great because you tend to get better availability of umpires. But if the pitch times aren't organized very well or they're too close together, and this happens to me all the time. This is my bread and butter here at home in Calgary, is that I will be running around the pitch and then I'll be umpiring the next game. Or vice versa. So I'll be umpiring and I'll have like half of my umpiring kit on and half of my playing kit on. Especially after halftime, I'll stick my shin guards on and that sort of thing. But the key is, friends, is to make do. Okay? Don't Just because there isn't a lot of time doesn't mean that there isn't any time. And it is always worth having some conversation, even if, I mean, you're not going to be able to go out there and not cover the first point, which I can't see there, is which side you're going to be on. Okay. Like, obviously that's the first thing. So I've ordered this and I've changed this order over time, but I have this in order of, this is your triage. This is literally the most important thing you have to talk about. And then the next most important thing to talk about. So if you have 30 seconds, you're going to cover 1 and maybe 2. If you have 1 minute, you're going to cover up to 3. And you're going to get your cooperation and how you're going to help, how you're going to consult. You know, what do you do? What's your body language going to be for your teammate? What's your whistle tone going to be for your teammate when you believe they need to upgrade a penalty inside the 23 meter into the penalty corner, that kind of thing. Talking about where you're going to be on penalty corner. So now you've got 3 minutes. So you might be able to, maybe more like 5. You got 5 minutes. You can talk about your positioning and where you are going to be on the penalty corner for supporting your colleague on the penalty stroke when the ball's in the deep opposite corner, maybe covering off issues like, now we get to, I'm leading myself into, I've got it next at point 5, trading responsibilities. So in the watch party today, we talked about, we noticed times where Hannah and Celine were communicating on the radio saying, hey, can you get that? You know, or I'm back here, or I'm up there. And the implied request to, in between themselves was, I need your help to take something that normally would be my area of responsibility. So with the game being faster and the game being more fluid, being more aerial, and our positioning needing to change to this more interior, more vertical, stretched out at times thing, we need a different notion of responsibility. And I grew up taking this pitch diagram over here, taking this pitch diagram over here and drawing. First, you drew like a rigid straight line up and over around the circles, splitting on a diagonal line with a couple of junctions in it. And then it was more smooth. And then, maybe you covered you had some fuzzy area. You had a fuzzy area in the middle, like, that's likely where we're going to have a coat hanger. And you had a fuzzy area sort of at the Bermuda Triangle, the far side of the top of the circle for your colleague. And now, you know what? Like, it completely depends, I believe, on which direction the ball's going, where it's come from, where it's heading to, all kinds of stuff. It's just way more fluid. And that's why radios, I think that's where they really, really come into play, because that's a way in which you can say, I've got this, you go. So the ball's about to break and there's somebody hanging out fairly high. There could be an aerial. And as the controlling umpire, you have got to catch your taxi. You got to get on your bike. You don't have the ability to sort out what's happening around the ball, because the next thing that's going to happen 2.5 seconds later or less is in your circle, and it's going to be a stroke or a goal or a big card or something. So you got to trust your colleague to take that, even though the ball is moving away from them. And even though it could be on their far sideline, your close sideline, they need to be across the pitch in the middle and helping you out. Okay, so sorry, this is point 5. So you might need more time for this. You're looking at more like you're at 10 minutes for this. And then you get into management. You talk about how you're going to approach certain things at your level. The first time we see this, this is what we're going to do. The second time we see this, same team, same thing, same general breakdown. This is what we're going to do next, okay? Because that's going to change. The fact you're intervening doesn't change, but what you're doing to intervene does. Okay? Whether it's a double tweet to get the attention softly. Hey, little 8-year-old, we don't want to see that. This is how we like to play. Keep it safe. Or you're doing senior hockey and high level, high competition. First time, boom, green card. Off you go. Not a word. Just, Okay, so getting agreement on that. How you signal advantage, playing on, how you make it verbal, what words you use. So if your colleague knows when you say play on, what you mean is I didn't see any foul at all. And that I would say play on, nothing there, and I'd put my arms in the air. My colleague knows that when I do that, that's what I've seen. And they better be damn sure that they've seen something different in that juncture. But maybe I missed it. Maybe I was unsighted. Absolutely. Step in, friend. When I play advantage and I'm like, play it, try it, go on. I use go on a lot. That's now my go-to. Go on. Okay, go on with your bad self. And I've got my arm up. That's when you, as my colleague, you are not going to even, don't even think about it. Because I'm doing something amazing. And then other things. So you're probably moving up to pretty high levels of play at this point, if you have this much time. And you're talking about what you're doing if there is extra time. Are you going straight to a shootout? How you're managing the coin toss? Are there anthems? What kind of handshakes are you doing, especially in the era of COVID? What's the protocol going to be like? Are there ball people? What's your runoff? Like, where are your areas of constriction, blah, 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 blah. And then you might talk about the teams. Okay. So if you are umpiring in an international tournament, you could have your pre-match chat the day before a game. And go through all this and go through some other things too. Get really creative. And then sort of touch a base a little bit before your physical warm up on the pitch, maybe. And that is like the extreme of we are preparing well in advance and making sure we get the vital conversation out of the way before, because what if on the day of the game, the bus breaks down? There's a monsoon, my colleague gets sick, whatever the case might be. You do that in advance. So it's all set, all ready to go. There's no stress on the day. Okay, so go download that if you haven't already. There. Move that. That looks very lonely. There. Now everything's gone askew, but that's okay. Okay, let's see what y'all have for me. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to when it all falls apart. So we'll get to the all falls apart. I got 10 minutes for that. Oh man, I've lost. I've fallen behind. Okay. Oh, we already talked about that. Godders. Always make enough time. I actually coach umpires on how to do a decent pre-match chat. Good. A fundamental to good for performance. Yeah. And yes, radio use protocols. So the version of the pre-match chat that I have card for radios has different things in it because there's things that you don't need to talk about. You don't need to, like the way in which you signal for help. You don't have to signal for help if you have radios. You ask for it. So anyway, it's subtly different, but I do have a different version. I just need to look at my website again and look at that one. Daniel, the last one you did was your third grade 2 game with an unfamiliar umpire. She was very much on the same wavelength when it came to game management, positioning advantage. Isn't that nice when you do that? But you can't assume. And I try to make sure I have a pre-match chat with colleagues that I've umpired with for 30 years. And you might not be able to talk about a lot, but I try to think about something novel that happened or I've seen. And I mean, I've got so much material now doing this all the time. I'm like, hey, so I did this What Up Wednesday and I talked about this thing. And it's not going to come up in the game. But you are communicating with your colleague. You're gaining some kind of consensus and agreement in that moment. And you're just like, it's like the secret handshake. You're like, and then you're, great sound effects. And then everything between you two flows more naturally during the game. Yeah, same as last time then. Yeah, it's really, really easy to do that. And I have done it. I've been guilty of that before. One of two, Peter, you got a lot to say here. You had a discussion a couple weeks ago during a game with a colleague had said, any foot in the D was a PC. Following week, same colleague, we chatted before and he insisted we give foot PC regardless. And this is interesting. So one of the points that I wanted to make sure when I was going to cover in this pre-match chat is there's a difference between talking over what your plan is for the game and what the interpretations of the game should be. Now, if I had a colleague who felt that was like one of the most important things to talk about was whether every foot that happens in the D is a PC, well, then we have some more things, like there's some deeper issues going on here. This is an umpire who is insecure in what the accurate interpretations are, the best interpretations to apply are, and their need to assert that on me when we've got really important stuff to talk about. So you have a lot of work to do in that situation, and very little of it has to do with arguing about whether it's a foot in the D, whether every foot in the D should be a PC. And if I have a colleague that gets hung up on an interpretation, or every ball off the floor is dangerous, or something like that, I may just say, look, we don't need to talk about interpretations. I need to know from you how you're going to help me. And what do you need from me? This is where I'm going to stand. Where are you going to stand? Because if somebody's that far off base on stuff, you're not going to change their mind before the game starts. You're not going to be able to make your colleague into a better umpire at any point during that game. That work has to happen sometime else, somewhere else. And in the meantime, you got to do your job. So that is starting to get into Simon's area here. Here's Peter's 2 of 2. Foot in the D, nowhere, anywhere. Ball goes out of the back line. You gave a long corner. He was fuming on the radio, but you could not give a PC for it. Exactly. Do your job. And that umpire, like there's how do I say this? I won't say it at all. Michael Vince, have a conversation if only it tells your colleague. If it tells your colleague it's clueless. Sorry. Now I understand. I'm like, what does this English? It can help you understand the level of your colleague if you never met them before, what they talk about in a pre-match chat. I hope that when you walk up with a card like that and you have this very practical triage approach to what we need to talk about, I hope that sends a message to your colleague that this person is prepared. They're committed to putting on a good performance. I like them and I'm going to enjoy umpiring with them. I mean, part of what you're doing is you're selling yourself to your colleague as well, and vice versa. How they respond to it. So that is good. James, you like the quarters for this reason. If it comes down to the worst, you'll need to get through 17 minutes before you can chat. Yeah. That can definitely help. And sometimes I think one of the hardest things, let me just see if there's, okay, I've missed a lot of comments, so I won't get into more techniques of what to do when your pre-match chat is not being followed when you're on the pitch. And maybe you guys will lead me to it, so let's do that. Radio use dynamics are crucial. Asking for information or wanting to be informed without asking. Yeah. So, yes. So this would be part of your radio system. Now, do I have... I might be able to pull this up quickly, or I might not. Pre-match Radios. Haha. Look at the smarty over here. Okay, it doesn't quite look right, but so the third item in your triage is going to be c'est ça. It's going to be about your what kind of help to give, when to give it, when you take a decision for your unsighted umpire, how you trade information about carding and advantage and all of that good stuff. Okay? What you do when the radios go out. When the radios go out. Okay? So you have to go back to your non-radio style of communication. Okay? So you've got all this to start covering. So I'll ask for things with my colleague. Like, for example, I'll say, when the ball is on the far side of my circle and it's deep on the baseline, there's a fair chance I'm going to be unsighted. So what I'd like from you, friend, is I'd like you to tell me nothing, PC. That doesn't bother me or distract me as an umpire. I love that because I am relying on them for that help anyway. I might see it completely on my own anyway, but now that we've agreed upon it, it's cool. It works. And very rarely, sometimes I have a colleague who says, well, no, like, how about I just say something when something needs to be, like when there actually is a call. But I'm like, but I want to know that you're there, because what if I don't hear you, or the radio cuts out at that moment, or you forget to tell me something? If you're telling me, fine, nothing, I know you're there and I don't have to worry about you. But if I haven't heard from you for 5 minutes, I'm like, do they exist? And if I were umpiring at the FH Pro League, I would not want that approach. It would be very different. It would be shaped differently. So don't take this as being, because I'm expecting the radios to work at that level. There's a lot more safeguards and checks in place and that sort of thing. So that would be part of my pre-match chat with my colleague. I would also agree on things like, hey, if I see a breakdown and the play is moving away from me and you're going to take that card, I'll tell you what the number is of the player. Especially with female players, sometimes the numbers are very hard to see on the skirts and you can only see them on the back of the shirts and they're going away from me. So I'm like, yeah, you're going to want number 4. You're going to want 4 on that. Do you want them? I'll take it. So you're keeping up that dialogue. It helps you commit to coming back to the card on an advantage. I hope that made sense. Now that I'm thinking about it, it may not have been very Englishy, but there you go. Goddard's radios are amazing and change the dynamic. Yep. Yeah, exactly. That is good. What's interesting though is, as well, is I think you want to get to the level, Daniel, and you're going to move into this style as you gain more and more experience and when you're doing more and more coaching, is that it's not about what your colleague is going to do. It's about, are you helping your colleague make a particular decision? Are they helping you make a particular decision and leaving them to it? So it's not about making every decision with them or your colleague making all of your decisions with you as well, because you need to be able to look at other things as a support. And it's the balance between when am I helping? When do I know my colleague is likely to be unsighted, likely to need my assistance? And when should I just leave them to it so I can take care of the things that they can't see? That's really important in developing that skill and that discernment. And sometimes you get it wrong. Part 3 of 2. Part C of all. Lesson learned about colleague, about not letting something through the pre-match chat that you weren't happy with. Yeah, and if I had a colleague who gave me something blatantly incorrect, I'd say, well, you're welcome to make that decision, but that doesn't accord with the way that I understand interpretations to go, and we're probably going to have to talk about that after the game. But I would probably just leave it, because it's not going to change things, and you're buttering the bread that you might not even have to eat, because that decision may not even come up. So I'm not saying avoid the problem, but you can't solve the problem. Not in a pre-match chat with a colleague who is perhaps less experienced or misinformed or had a bad day and has taken a more rigorous approach to certain interpretations than are justified. I see people like this on the internet all the time. On the regular, they are telling other umpires wrong information. And I just got to shrug my shoulders. Go on. The coach said you were giving instructions to the players, which is the coach's job. Whatever. I would speak to a coach like that and say, hey, tell me about that. Okay, let's go through some other options. What do you think? And lead them through the process so they understand if you just say play, that can mean a lot of things. So explain to them what you're trying to get at, that you're trying to draw a difference between a foul that has occurred, you've seen it, but you're going to allow play to continue, and there wasn't a foul. And that way you can build consensus. So asking the questions, explaining the rationales and the principles, that's kind of what we do here on What Up Wednesday. FHumpires, third team. That's the way we are. Is there a polite way of telling an umpire coach that they're wrong even though they are grading you? Yeah, there is. And it's about getting them involved in a meaningful discussion and getting them to, asking them, so I'd like to understand this more. What I'm hearing you say is this. Do I have that right? Can I, it depends on your personal style and what works for you. And I'm in this position enough times now where I'm working with high level people, some of whom, there's egos out there. And I have to navigate this as being not a very delicate person and not very diplomatic. And I'm an apologetic Canadian, but I give myself many reasons to need to apologize because I let my mouth go. So I'm trying to learn how to assert myself, but do so in a way that generates consensus, and understand that every time I don't agree with somebody, it's not bad. It's a learning opportunity. So when you frame it that way and you say, okay, what can I learn from this that my umpire manager is grading me isn't, I don't agree. What kind of conversation can I have with this person that I can get the most out of here? And it's not about being right. That's not the best thing that you can get out of that experience. The best thing you can get at is, how can I better understand the way that I have learned this rule should be applied, or this positioning should be taken, or this approach to interventions is best. Can this person's differing viewpoint force me to explain it better? Can this, are there merits to what this person is saying? So you reframe it like that. And yeah, I think you can make that into a much more productive experience. But that's one of the biggest challenges of going through the ranks, is that in the beginning, you are getting bad information from a lot of sources, from people who know stuff, who have influence over you and have power over you. It's just facts. It's like having bad coaches of hockey players. they're just not as good. And luckily it gets better and better and better and better. But the disputes, the disagreements, the different approaches, they don't go away. They don't go away. So look at it as, how can you learn? And approach it with that spirit. And let me know how it goes, Scott, because I'm interested, because I've often given you your props for some of the great bombs that you drop in these chats. So I know that you probably outstrip some of the people that you work with. So let me know. Come in the Discord and we can talk about this more, because I'm really interested in this, because I have to deal with this a lot. Download us for the radio sheet. Oh, well, there you go. Thank you, Rachel. So I need to set up the non-radio sheet as well. Yeah. Umpires did. Okay. Here's a situation Goddard's had. Umpires disagreed on how to deal with an attacker early entry on PC on blind side of engaged umpire. Engaged umpire said he wanted colleague to blow. Colleague said, no, he would not blow. He would inform. PC where this happened and broke down, ball out of circle before colleague informed, confusion ensued. Yeah. And that's going to happen, right? So now you have a disagreement and you had a mistake. Nobody died. It's fine. And as a coach, it's now you have a learning opportunity. Okay. So this was the approach that you wanted. How did it serve you? Did it get you the result that you wanted? Was it best for the game? No? Okay. How can we change it? What should we do next time? And you have evidence now. And making mistakes is not a bad thing. Making mistakes is a great thing, because it teaches you right there, right then. No, don't do that thing. Maybe do this other thing. The disengaged umpire who informed late wanted the colleague to reward a PC. Yeah. Oh, it is the non-radios. Oh, okay. Rachel, stop teasing. Where can you... Oh, the website already recognizes your email, so you can't do it again. Huh. I understand what you're saying, Scott. So that is an unintended side effect. Okay. I'll post the direct links in the Discord server. How's that? Or maybe I can do it here. Okay. This, friends, is the radios, and this is the non-radios. Okay. Where we at? Okay, wait. Oh. This is probably a continuation of... Daniel types a lot. Oh, radio's amazing. They're changing what... I don't need to see the other umpire to know what they're wanting to give... Type onto when it goes wrong. Oh, no. Okay. You didn't capitalize. I didn't know. When it goes wrong, it's frustrating when the umpire starts out being fair, then suddenly favors their own team to help them win, and we're not talking about that. Sorry, I don't talk about biases. Because if you recognize that it has to be dealt with, if it actually occurs, if there's any doubt in your mind, that is an area for improvement. Niels would love to umpire with radios. Yeah. It's definitely been a Keeley hour. Is it better to start without radios? Asked Stefan. Is there a chance to have radios early on? Should junior umpires be exposed to them? I think it's important to do both. So I don't want junior umpires to have them too early. Because you absolutely need to be able to do both. You need to develop the skills. So, the radios come much more into play when you need management, coordination, and cooperation in that level. So junior umpires, unless they're doing a very high level of play, So when we talk about junior umpires, I think we're talking about umpires that aren't necessarily junior in age, but umpiring junior hockey. Okay, they're not experienced umpires and they're doing lower level stuff. You shouldn't really even need radios, because what you're looking at is basic call accuracy, establishing your movement patterns, and your basic presentation. Radios, like, who cares what calls you're making? You're only, to be a good junior level umpire, you're getting like 75% of your decisions right. We start applying higher standards as things get better. And so you don't want anything get in the way of that. So no, this is interesting. I've never thought about this before, but that's what I'm saying. Don't use radios too soon, and don't ever umpire without radios. I've really enjoyed recently going out and doing club matches without radios, because it's forced me to reaffirm, how do I communicate with my colleague and get back to those habits. So it's good. And then I appreciate them when I have them as well, because you never know when they're going to break. Luke and Scott are friends, and they're going to be cheering for each other. Okay, I like it. Umpiring men's ones and ladies ones. You haven't got a coach, though. Yes, you do. You've got me. So Luke is going to pull out an iPhone or an iPad, and he is going to go behind one of the goals at the end that you're umpiring at, Scott, and he's going to take some video of you. 5 minutes, okay, is all I want to see. Give me 5 minutes. Give me more of that. He got. But I want to see Luke's, or I want to see Scott's positioning. I want to see his presentation. And we'll bring it into Discord and we'll talk about it. Hey, that's a plan and a half. Oh, now you just ruined it. I just made this great plan. Okay, both the links work. Good. Yes. Excellent. Scott. Man. You still got to practice. Smiles. You've never used radio, Stefan, but you've not umpired at that level to have them. But it's going to be there. It's going to be there. So look forward to it. It's fun. iPhone at the ready. Okay, Luke's going to do it. Okay, that's good to know. All right, friends, it's been over a Keeley hour. Sorry about that. Didn't even get to the indoor briefing. Maybe by next week, the outdoor briefing will be ready. So they were both supposed to be done. And I think for a lot of you, you're probably deeply invested in hearing about the outdoor briefing first, because you're in the middle of doing outdoor right now. We start indoor Sunday. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ugh. Indoor starts. I have a whole club to organize. Right. It's fine. It's totally fine. So, in Europe, you're going to start playing indoor a little bit soon as well. So, it's not earth-shaking in the indoor briefing anyway. But it's good to know. It's good to be on top of things and to see the direction. Like, what is the rules committee wanting to emphasize now? What are they looking at? So we'll do that next week. I don't know what else we'll do. Like anything you want. Send me a question. Come into the Discord. When I see a good discussion that I think is worthy of further explanation that I think can benefit a lot of people, then I'll bring it into what, Wednesday? Go on with your bad self. I'll do it. You're very welcome. And I'm so glad we have some third team friends getting together. You managed to make it all the way home, listening in. Keely's still going, yeah, stop me. And I already did a watch party, so I need a nap. I don't feel great. I need a nap. Paul, yes, great chat. And I'm glad you were here, Rachel. Look after your intraventricular thing. I hope you're good. Your indoor will be later. Yes. Well aware. Good. I'm glad. Your mental IQ. Get into the Discord and tell me how your games go. Everybody, I love to hear how your games have gone. So don't be shy. It's my life. It's my fuel. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Great session. Yes, thank you. And we will have some interesting things to talk about. Yeah, my favorite. Okay, be good to yourselves. Have some great hockey this weekend. Come back with more questions. See you in the Discord server. Come there. There you go. You didn't get any of the sonars. Lou, you got them right because you came and you engaged and you listened, and that's why you're one of my favorites. So you keep up the good work, okay? There you are. Great. Thanks, Marvel. Good to see you. Bye, Lucio. Okay, have a good one, and we'll see you again soon. Next week. What Up Wednesday.